You're listening to the Fort Erie Podcast, your local source for upcoming events, hot new listings, and bite-sized interviews with business and community leaders. Here's your host, Brent Jones.
Good morning and welcome. You are listening to Season 4, Episode 8 of the Fort Erie Podcast. It is Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021, and I'm your host, Brent Jones. I hope everybody on Sunday had a happy Halloween. Despite my prediction last week that it would rain, we actually ended up with a dry Sunday evening, so hopefully all the trick-or-treaters had fun. We actually ran out of candy at my place. I felt terrible. By like 7:15, we'd given out all the candy that we had. My wife and I concluded that maybe we should give out smaller fistfuls next year or just buy more candy. One or the other, I'm sure will work. My guest for today's new episode will be Gary O'Brien, owner and operator of Trailside Bar and Grill in Ridgeway. We'll get to chatting with Gary in just a moment. But first, a quick reminder, I am giving away a $50 gift certificate to Lucky Strikes every new episode this fall. If you'd like to win today's gift certificate and get $50 of basically free bowling on me, all you have to do is click the link to access the show notes. You can find that link sort of below this episode. Access the show notes page, scroll down to where the space is to leave a comment, and leave me a comment. You can comment on today's episode, tell me how your Halloween was, tell me a joke. You could really leave any comment you like. My favorite comment for this week will win the $50 gift certificate. Now let's get into what's making news here in Fort Erie. First headline is that Fort Erie was asked to become a bird-friendly city. So 2 members of the Burt Miller Nature Club basically made the case to the town that we should become a certified by Nature Canada bird-friendly city. So the premise here is that the town would need to commit to various policies and planning processes that would stem the decline of the bird population. And some of these new policies, some of the costs for them could be offset by some of the ecotourism and bird watching. To get the full story and more details on every story we talk about today, check out the link in the show notes below this episode. And the other story that I wanted to touch on today, there's a new funding proposal put forward by proponents of Village Hall, and those proponents being the Advancing Crystal Beach organization. So Advancing Crystal Beach is eyeing Station 6 Fire Hall in Crystal Beach, looking to convert that facility into a community hub known as the Village Hall. Of course, Advancing Crystal Beach is looking for the town to get behind that proposal. Currently, Station 6 has an appraised value of about $750,000. Advancing Crystal Beach is offering a $150,000 deposit up front, with the remainder to be paid over a 2-year period. Now, in terms of residential real estate news, I've got a hot new listing for you here. This listing comes courtesy of Ray Rosatani with Remax Niagara Realty. I'm talking about 15 Court Street in Fort Erie. So this property is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom family home with a partially finished basement, about 1,100 square feet of living space. Some of the updates include newer security system, furnace, air conditioning, roof, and some windows have been replaced. The property is listed for $485,000. There's a link below in the show notes to get more details about this property, or you can contact me directly if you'd like to book a private viewing. This week, I thought I would switch things up a little bit. Instead of checking in with the Fort Erie Questions and Answers Facebook group, I decided to drop into Fort Erie job leads instead. Tzatziki Time. Hopefully, you've had a chance to check out Tzatziki Time, newer restaurant, of course, on Garrison Road. They are hiring kitchen help. Experience is preferred. Open availability is needed. If you would like to apply for a position with Tzatziki Time, you can apply by phone or email. Check out the link in the show notes below. Garrison Automotive Service Shop is also hiring. They are looking for an automotive service technician. They offer competitive wages, benefits, and a bonus structure. Looking for somebody with customer service experience and knowledge of all makes and models of vehicles. To apply, you are to go directly to Garrison Automotive and speak with Bill Marr. Okay, I think that just about covers what's happening in Fort Erie this week. Now on to my conversation with Gary O'Brien. All right, folks, welcome back. I am joined now by Gary O'Brien, owner and operator of Trailside Bar and Grill. Welcome to the show, Gary. Thank you for being here.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. And let me start by asking you, what makes Fort Erie and Ridgeway specifically such a great place to live and work?
Oh, it's first and foremost, it's the people. That just goes without saying. It's just a great supportive community. They've been with us from day one. Everybody's got our backs. We try and do what we can to reciprocate, but absolutely, it's the people.
Great. Well, you know what? You gave such a positive answer. I have to lead in now to something that's always bothered me a little bit that I'm hoping you can clarify maybe. Obviously, the name of your establishment is Trailside Bar and Grill, but people notoriously call it Trailsides or say Trailsides Bar and Grill. That's always got under my skin. Does it bother you, or are you just used to it by now?
We're just used to it. I think originally the name, we may have tossed around the name Trailsides, but it didn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, I know, but everybody says it.
So we stuck with Trailside, knowing full well everybody would just call it Trailsides.
Okay. Well, tell me the story about how Trailside came to be. I'm starting to think it's a trend in this area. If you're a real estate agent, as you are, then you have to own a restaurant. But how did Trailside come to be?
Well, it starts with real estate. So it's a story I've told a lot. I was down in Ridgeway showing some properties to my niece, Jen, who works at Trailside. And I'd never been here before. And as soon as we pulled down Ridge Road, I loved it. I just loved it. It was a beautiful day. Everybody was out shopping. I just thought, wow, this is a gorgeous little town. So we went about our business. And then I sent Matt, my son, a text to say, retiring in 5 years, moving to Ridgeway, see ya. And then, so he was a bit disenchanted with his job in Mississauga. So he was online looking at properties for sale, found a building on Ridge Road, and had me look into it for him. I was, no, I'm not doing this. Did you not read the part about retiring? And, this is 10 years ago almost. Well, it is 10 years ago now. And so anyways, we looked at it. And Matt was just full of ideas. Yeah, we could open a sports bar. We could do this. We could do that. And next thing you know, there we are.
You know, I've obviously got to know some of the staff over the years. You have excellent staff, and I know it's been really hard. As restrictions have loosened, a lot of restaurants and small businesses have really struggled to get people back to work. Yet you've got rock star staff putting in such consistent service every night. Kind of what's the secret? I mean, to cultivating a culture like that.
Oh, I don't know if there's any secret to it at all. I mean, our staff, for the most part, have stuck with us through this entire adventure, shall we say, over the past year and a half or so. We're just a family. We're not a corporate set up. We're not a franchise. We're just a small town bar and a small town family, and so we just treat everyone like their family. And I'm sure the customers who get to know us recognize that sentiment. But we're certainly grateful. That's for sure. We're absolutely grateful that I can look around and see, like you said, a rock star staff both up front and in the kitchen.
For sure. Well, let's talk about what's coming out of the kitchen, because you have, how many flavors of wings is it?
21.
Okay, 21 flavors of wings. What's the most popular? What's your personal favorite? And how did Fuhgeddaboudit ever end up happening?
Again, that comes down to Matt. Matt likes to experiment. Matt likes to grow his own chili peppers. And he was just messing around and wanted to take it up a notch. We find when you go to a place and you order suicide wings, they're not really, they're just hot. But we thought we'd go all the way with this, and they really are hot. We actually considered using a disclaimer or a waiver with those. I've seen grown men cry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that's Matt's baby. Probably our most popular is the garlic parm, because it's just got everything. Garlic, it's got some heat, it's cheesy. And then my personal favorite is the Yippee Cayenne. I just love it. It's hot. It's got a really great aftertaste. And because it's cayenne peppers, there's a medicinal benefit to it. So really, two birds, one stone.
Well, I think I've tried most, but for the benefit of listeners who maybe don't know what's so special about the Fuhgeddaboudit wings, every time you see online somebody asking where can you get the hottest wings in Fort Erie, the answer is always Fuhgeddaboudit at Trailside. That's where you got to go.
That's right.
So you've obviously been a staple of downtown Ridgeway for several years now. You've been active, of course, in the real estate market as well. What type of changes or what do you expect to see the area look like over the next 5 to 10 years?
So I still see a lot of future growth. People will say Niagara on the Lake. They'll draw that comparison. I don't really necessarily subscribe to that. I'm more of an Ellicottville kind of vibe. If you've ever been to Erin, Ontario, just outside of Orangeville, very similar again. So I would think Ellicottville would be my closest comparison.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of potential future growth here.
Oh, I think so too, for sure. Now, of course, I'm going to put links to Trailside and kind of everything the bar and grill's up to, in the links in the show notes below this episode. But just to kind of conclude things, Gary, I mean, are you really ever going to retire, or is this going to be you're going to kind of blame it on Matt? But I mean, is this going to be your baby for years to come?
Well, yeah, I do take opportunities once in a while to blame it on Matt. The best part about having Matt is when someone asks if I'm the owner, and I'm not sure what they're looking for, so I might defer to Matt. But then he throws me under the bus a lot of times too, so it works out really well. Will I retire? I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, the people are great. We've made so many great friends through Trailside. And so will I retire? I don't know. I guess that's kind of up to Matt, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, I want to thank you so much for spending some time with me today, Gary, and I'll see you in the restaurant soon, all right?
Awesome. Thanks, Brent.
All right, welcome back, everybody. To conclude today's episode, let's go through some community events coming up this week. First off, the Boys and Girls Club of Niagara, starting this week, is offering a Teen Zone program every Tuesday and Thursday, so that being today as well as Thursday from 6 to 8:30 p.m. For any community event I discussed today, check out the link in the show notes below this episode. Next, coming up Thursday, November the 4th, beginning at 9 o'clock a.m., you can check out the Christmas open house at the Stevensville Garden Gallery. The most wonderful time of the year is just around the corner. Also happening on Thursday, November the 4th, there is a Flying Over the Pacific presentation for veterans, so a veteran speaker and dinner at the Legion Banquet Hall in Ridgeway. That begins at 5:30 p.m. Of course, veterans are invited for free, and it's $15 for tickets for extra guests. On Friday, November the 5th at 7 p.m., you can catch Jessica Wilson performing live at Casa Hugo in Crystal Beach. Then coming up on Saturday, November the 6th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m., there is the annual Winter Craft Show happening at the Central Fire Hall. That's 444 Central Avenue in Fort Erie. This Saturday at 7 p.m., you can catch live music at Brimstone Brewing Company in Ridgeway. I always say the name of this band wrong, the gentleman's name wrong, the Max Hillier or Hillier Trio. I'm not entirely sure, but great music. Catch them this Saturday evening in Ridgeway. And finally, coming up this Sunday, November the 7th at 2 p.m., there is a Remembrance Day ceremony happening at Stevensville Memorial Hall, again, Sunday at 2 p.m. I think that'll just about do it for community events coming up this week in our town. Next week, my guest is going to be Phil Cudmore of Neon Crab Tattoo and Piercing on Jarvis Street. And if you can believe it, next week will be Season 4, Episode 9. There are actually just 2 brand new episodes left to come this season. But that's all for this week. So long, Fort Erie. I will talk with you soon.
You've been listening to the Fort Erie Podcast with your host, Brent Jones, a sales representative with RE/MAX Niagara Realty Limited Brokerage. Follow @BuyWithBrent on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for updates. Subscribe to the Fort Erie Podcast on popular platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and catch a new bite-sized episode every week. Until next time.